Good evening. Welcome to the Planning Board meeting of November 25th, 2025 in the Carver Town Hall Meeting Room Number 1. These proceedings will be videotaped and rebroadcasted by Area 58 TV. If we could all please stand for the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello, everyone. The first matter we have on our agenda tonight is a discussion about the MBTA zoning bylaw. This is a discussion and possible vote regarding compliance deadline and proposals for the 2026 annual town meeting, the hiring, use, and communications with consultants, and other related issues. We have Attorney Amy Quessel here tonight as town counsel, but I would like to just say that at the special town meeting, it was very clear how the residents voted on this matter. I think it's important that we have a discussion about this so that it allows us to move forward, but this particular subject matter on the agenda was recommended by and written by town council, not Attorney Quessel, but she's here to assist us this evening regarding the subject matter. So, Attorney Quessel, if you could please help us. I know that some of the concerns were, authorizing me or perhaps together with another member to have certain conversations moving forward. Just guide us in that direction.
Sure. So as you all know, as an adjacent small town, you are supposed to be in compliance by December 31st of 2025. So that won't happen because there's not going to be a town meeting scheduled between now and then. So we are, if the town is looking to get into compliance, your first opportunity to do that would be at the spring town meeting. And so between now and then, you have the opportunity to work with a consultant and come up with a new overlay, an overlay that will support only the 200 and some units. And quite honestly, I would recommend that that Carver does what which quite a few other towns have done, which is paper compliance, which is, and I think that's what you attempted to achieve last time, right. Which is you put your overlay over an existing established lot, so established with either housing on it already, established with commercial. So different towns have done it different ways. For example, Duxbury did it over existing housing. Marshfield did it over existing commercial uses. And so that, I think, as a result of the special town meeting, that's probably the way that you want to go, is to go with just paper compliance. And so right. To do that, you would need to work with a consultant, work with SherPed, or Old Colony, somehow to come up with this new overlay and the bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Does anyone on the board have any questions about this?
Aside from established institutions like churches and libraries and such, what is not allowed to be on the map?
Anything that's any public lands, so schools, fire stations, police stations, town hall, or cemeteries, open space owned by the town, transmission lines, but not necessarily easements for utilities. But there is a whole list of what is excluded lands.
State land?
Excluded.
And in particular, or just?
All state lands. That's public lands, publicly owned lands.
Okay.
Yep. So anything that's publicly owned is excluded.
Would that go for housing in the town too?
It depends. It depends on who owns the housing. If it's owned by, say, a housing authority, most likely that would. I think owned by a local housing authority is not excluded, but owned by the state would be excluded.
What about in regards to, one of the issues we ran into with what was proposed was we were proposing a certain number on there, 235, with open space requirements. And that's allowed?
So it's my understanding that the open space requirement was to get that number down, because the first number was in the 800s. And so they essentially they took the lot and they split it and they created an open space area to get the number down. That is not always necessary. And so I think that EOHLC has said that that's allowed. I haven't seen any other towns do that.
Okay.
I haven't seen any towns do that. So your better bet is to, again, find another location, another overlay that would only support the 235.
Right, because part of the issue is in regards to our own bylaws, and density in regards to that. So it's unlikely to be put in a village area in this town. So it's almost certainly going to end up in a form of residential area, and the requirements of the residential area are 60,000 square foot lots, which clearly the state doesn't want to allow that. So how do we address that if we choose an area that will allow for, say, 235 houses without it being in a village district? And is it exempt at this point?
Correct. So it's an overlay. So what you have is, say you put it in your village district, you have your underlying zoning, which allows for commercial, mixed use, things like that, and it has a certain lot size. Your overlay is going to be a completely different set of requirements. Your overlay is going to allow up to 15 units per acre, and it will allow things like different types of screening, buffering, different heights even to get to that density. But the underlying zoning stays. And so if you owned a lot in the overlay, you could decide whether you wanted to build that lot in accordance with the underlying zoning or the overlay, but you can't do it under both.
Okay.
You finish it, Brian.
What are the issues we're going to run into if we decide to put multiple lots together to form this overlay district?
You definitely can do that. They have to be contiguous. And most likely you're only going to have one overlay, although, I mean, probably you would only have one overlay with 235 units, but you could do two separate locations, but one of them has to have over 50% of the area.
Now, again, if it's in a residential area and say we pick out the 15.2 acres required in that, but it's surrounded by other houses, how do we deal with that?
Well, the other houses would not, they wouldn't be part of the overlay, is what you're saying?
But there's going to be issues, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, when people buy property, they do expect a certain continuance of what they have and their rights to enjoy it. And if we dumped it in the middle of a residential area and it's surrounded by other houses, and we have our own setbacks and requirements in that sense, how do we deal with that sort of, it's kind of like attacking a neighborhood.
So again, the only real way to deal with that is you have to work with a consultant, and your consultant can figure out if you can provide for, say, a 100-foot buffer or a 300-foot buffer. But you have to have a consultant that puts all of this through the model, because if you require large buffers between the overlay lot and, say, an adjacent lot, you have to be able to make sure that you can still do the density that's required by the state.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have any, do we have a consultant? Are we still
Well-
working with a consultant?
That's the reason why it's on the agenda this
Same
evening.
one, or can we use a different one?
Well, that's open for discussion. So the whole purpose of this is for us to come together and figure out, are we going to continue the discussions? Will we vote on this to move forward, to have the discussions. I think we're open to, if I'm not mistaken, opening up the lines of communication with the Barrett Planning Group or entertaining another planning group. That's a possibility. I think that's where a lot of the problems, fell last time, is that the lack of communication.
There was no direct line of communication. What we were saying was not being appropriately
And so
transmitted.
that's why we're having this discussion now. Yeah, yeah.
Is it allowed that one or two members of the planning board become the
Yes.
go-between intermediates?
Just two,
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
just
okay.
one or two, maximum two.
All right.
But yes, yep. And the only other thing that, the choice of consultant is 100% up to the board. The only thing that I would say is that the Barrett Group has already run all the models. They have all your modeling, so might be easier. But again, I don't know the model.
Might save some time.
I would be inclined to go back to them. I thought they were acting in a professional manner, but it was other outside
I would agree.
influences that we had no control over.
I would
that caused
agree.
issues.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we should share those concerns just so we're all level set the first day, though. Definitely.
I think they're fully aware of our concerns, but just,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Doesn't hurt to
No, but when,
over-communicate sometimes.
and I think that we did communicate that at a couple of the meetings, but now in just reflecting back, you can see why it happened. So that's the reason for this discussion tonight. And if we want to vote on this and allowing, myself with another member of the board to have those discussions, that would probably be helpful if we're able to bring this to the spring meeting.
My last question is going to be, the planning board has the power and authority to put warrant articles on. It appears that the select board says those have to be in by December 31st. We are not going to be in by December 31st.
That is
Under what
correct.
rules are we under? What onus are we in presenting this and having it, making sure it makes it on the warrant?
So we would have to speak to administration, because a lot of times you could put a placeholder on the warrant.
They said no placeholders, but yes, that is typically what we would do.
Right, and then if I don't know for certain, but I would think that the warrant wouldn't go out to be published, in January. So if you put a placeholder on, you should be okay. The other thing is that sometimes when you have an annual town meeting, you also have a special town meeting at the same time. And the special town meeting, the warrant closes a lot sooner, a lot closer to the date of the town meeting. So I'd have to talk to administration and figure it out. We usually work backwards from the date of town meeting.
Right,
Yeah.
which is, so it usually has to be printed around the end of March
Yeah,
for the middle of April. So
great. So if
we're
we did
not looking to
placeholder-
hold up that far, but again, we're not looking to rush anything
Right.
through, so that's where we're kind of running into
Yeah.
a stumbling
It would be
block.
close to impossible for you to have a new overlay chosen
Yeah.
by December 31st.
Right.
That was a lot of our problem before. We got really rushed and didn't have to do our due diligence, and communication was a problem, and there it went.
Are there any other questions? No questions? Would we like to entertain a motion to allow myself with another board member, if someone's willing to do so,
To,
allow these discussions with the Barrett Planning Group?
so moved.
A second.
Okay, very good. Mr. Mike?
Cameron Robinson says aye.
Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Sotelo says aye.
Mary Lynn Williams says aye. The only question I would have is, we should probably determine who that other board member is right now, or leave that to...
You could do that at any
Okay.
time.
Very
It would be
good.
up to you.
All right, very good. All right, so that would, we don't need to cover anything else in your opinion, do we, Attorney Questle?
No, not right now.
Okay, very good. All right, so moving on to the next. Very good. Next on the agenda this evening is an A&R plan. The proposal consists of the combination of 3 lots into 1 lot, assesses map 14-9-0-R and 14-6-0-R, located at 184 Center Street, Carver, Mass., in the Residential Agricultural Zoning District. Good evening.
Good evening. Rick Goodrow with United Consultants. We prepared the plan for the A&R approval. The applicant, Mr. Roy Dawes, has requested the 3 parcels of land he owns to be combined into one plan for recording at the Registry of Deeds.
Okay.
There's an existing house lot that has frontage on Center Street, which is a county layout. It has adequate frontage per your zoning bylaw. He's in the last few years accumulated 2 parcels, one from the town of Carver through a tax title taking that was ultimately conveyed to him, and then one from a private transfer of property. So the plan here is, or the proposal here on the plan you have is to combine these 3 parcels into 1 parcel.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you sign in? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And for anybody speaking, if you could let us know who you are for the minute taker so she says appropriately who said what. Thank you.
Very good. Does anyone on the board have any questions?
Yeah, all 3 properties are owned by the same individual?
Yes.
All right, then I don't have any questions. I do think our disclaimer, our typical disclaimer should be put on the map. Typically it says planning board endorsement of this plan is not a determination as to conformance with zoning regulations. It should be on all A&Rs, I think, that come before us, and it seems to be lacking in this one. With that, I would make a motion to approve as edited.
Okay. Very good. Mr. Lake?
Kevin Robinson says aye.
Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Sedillo says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda this evening, we have an A&R plan. This is not deemed to be a subdivision because all the proposed tracts have frontage on a pre-existing public way, and no new public ways are proposed as part of this application. Assesses map 122-2 and 5-1, located at Mayflower Road, Carver, Mass., in the Residential Agricultural Zoning District. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Brandon Barry with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors. We prepared the A&R plan in front of you. We are taking a portion of an existing lot, map 122-2, and a lot that was created on their map 122-5-1, and subdividing that into 7 new lots. The lots all have frontage on Mayflower Road that complies with zoning. They have the required lot area, lot widths, and upland percentage. So they all comply with zoning. And there's no subdivisions or anything else created, so we believe it's just an A&R plan.
Looks like it'd be 52 cents.
I will tell you that the application is incomplete because it doesn't contain the 100-foot and 65-foot setback buffer zones that are required as part of the application process.
There's wetlands all around it.
Yeah. It does.
There's no way for us to determine with any certainty whether these are even buildable lots. That's why our disclaimer is so important.
Agreed. I see a little discrepancy in the zoning compliance table to the actual square footage on the lots. I know that some has to do with upland, but
We can certainly check on those there. I know they have been checked. Again, regardless of the discrepancy, the lots are conforming, even if the smaller number does prevail. And we have checked them all from, like you mentioned, there's an upland percentage, but they all are over the required 70% that's deemed upland area.
And you're also using part of the cranberry bog. Is there a reason why? Because it doesn't appear that you'd have to.
That is just where the lot line ends, so as not to leave a portion of the lot or back area behind there.
Okay.
We're just including those within the lots.
And are there there are no easements shown in those areas either?
That land would become part of the lots that are created.
So the cranberry bog would no longer be in existence?
It would not be operational in those sections, no.
Okay. And then you have remaining land. So you haven't shown a definitive area of the remaining land.
That is from the parcel 122-2.
Okay. Yeah.
The parcel 122-2 is in about 250 acres total.
Okay.
So we're taking just about 13 of that in the section that we're looking at.
Okay.
That has frontage all along Mayflower with the exception of some smaller subdivision lots at the end. So roughly close to a mile plus of frontage and then area in excess of 200 acres.
So would you consider that,
That would
Would you-
remain as parcel 122-2.
and that wouldn't be its own lot now that you've
Or it would be,
created
yes.
these lots?
Yes, that would stay as its own lot. and
As
then
its
we
own
would-
lot, but you don't give any identification to that, other than an assessor's reference?
Just the remaining land section there,
Okay.
yes.
I would go back to Mr. Shea's comment as well.
We can get the revised plan showing the buffer areas added.
Any other questions from the board?
The irrigation, is that gonna obviously go away until irrigation? I know you talked about the bog being,
Oh, the,
the trench there.
Mhm.
That would be going away also, or the,
trench going into lot 7.
We would, at this point, we haven't done a full design on those, so we would either design around that to locate the house on it to allow that connection to maintain, because I know the bogs on the opposite side of the road will remain in operation, but that's not something that we fully determined with the owner on how they want to handle that lot there.
Right. So, Mr. Shea, could you just repeat what your comment was on the application?
But all protected areas, wetlands should be delineated, and the 65-foot and 100-foot should be delineated. Otherwise, we can't tell if it's a buildable lot, if there's access to the lot, or other issues we might have.
Okay. Very
We've
good.
had the discussion before, it should have been put on the application. with all the requirements for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I don't think we've ever had this happen with an A&R plan.
Is there a section in the, it's not, I know it was not on the application requirements checklist that we filled out to show those. Is it a requirement in the bylaw to have that on the subdivision plan?
It is, yeah.
It is?
It specifically listed out, and we had gone over it with, on several occasions, that it should have been easily understood and put on. So I'll have to look into that.
All right. So at the moment, this is incomplete.
Oh, that's up to the board to,
Yeah, I would say so. Get a motion?
I'll make the motion. Is that motion? This is not complete, to have it completed by,
Well, that's up to them.
I'll second it. Yeah.
Very good.
If we're gonna vote on it, there should be no further charges or issues. He can just bring it back, if it fails. Whenever he feels it's appropriate.
I would imagine.
If I may.
Yes, please.
So with an approval not required plan, the only thing that the planning board is allowed to look at is frontage, if the frontage is adequate. It's not up to the planning board to determine if the lots are buildable or not. That is up to the building commissioner.
Right.
And so the not including the wetlands with regard to whether the lot is buildable or not, that does not matter. But not having the delineated wetlands would only matter on an A&R plan if you think that access is going to be impeded by the wetlands. There is a case out there that says that wetlands that are along the frontage of the lot what created illusory access, which means that even though they had 200 feet of frontage, the wetlands did not allow them access. So if there's no question that the wetlands are going to, interfere with their access, with their frontage, well, I guess I would say I would recommend in any event to continue this with the consent of the applicant to your next meeting, so he can bring in the plan that shows the delineation of the wetlands.
Okay. All right.
Is that acceptable with
If
the
the
applicant?
applicant is
Well,
amenable.
I think the question was not the delineation of the wetlands, but the buffers themselves, because the wetland lines are delineated on the plan.
Okay, so then,
And there's no wetlands across the frontages that we are showing.
So I will withdraw my second.
Okay. Very good.
yes,
Are you withdrawing your motion?
I am withdrawing my motion.
And I will so move to approve.
Do you want to second it?
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Lee?
Aye. Kevin Robinson says aye.
Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Sodillo says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye.
Let me just finish signing in.
Thank you, Attorney Questle.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, same to you. Next on the agenda, we have a public hearing continued, Wareham Street Solar 2 LLC requesting a special permit and site plan review pursuant to Section 290-3-1, 290-3-6, 290-5-3, and 290-4-3 of the Carver zoning bylaw located off Wareham Street in Carver, Mass. Assesses map 134, lots 4-2A, 4-2B, and 4-3 in the residential agricultural RA zoning district. This project consists of a large-scale ground-mounted solar photovoltaic system with a coupled battery energy storage system and I don't know if anyone is here this evening, but there has been an application to request a continuance on this matter to December 9th, 2025. No one is here. Are you?
I'm not with the project, but I have a quick comment if you guys are open to it.
I don't think we can take, but
You could, it's up to you, because they're requesting the continuance, you have to allow the continuance.
Right.
You can't take any, you really can't take any testimony, so if the gentleman's gonna offer evidence, you wouldn't be able to take that. But I don't know what the comment is it about
It's not evidence,
scheduling?
it's just a comment?
Yes.
Okay.
My name's Nick Jenks. I live at 107 Wareham Street. It was a recently subdivided lot off of this parcel, I believe. My lot's still shown as a part of this project. So I'd like to see the plan updated to remove my lot from the project. So mostly just hoping you guys could pass that along and they could update their plans.
we
Okay.
can certainly do that, Nick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You just purchased that lot? That home?
Just this month, yeah.
Welcome to the neighborhood, you're my neighbor. All right, so the
Thank you.
applicant... Thank you. The applicant is not here and has requested a continuance to December 9th, 2025.
I will make a motion to continue the public hearing for Wareham Solon 2 LLC, off Wareham Street in Carver, Mass. till December 9th, 2025, 7 PM, Carver Town Hall, Room 1.
Second that.
Mr. Lake?
Kevin Robinson says aye.
Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Stiller says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye. Okay. Next on the agenda this evening, we have a public hearing. Weather Vane at Silver Street LLC requesting a special permit and site plan review, 7 and 9 Silver Street in Carver, Mass. Assesses map 67 lots 4-3 and 4-F in the residential agricultural zoning district to construct 4 new triplex residential townhouses consisting of 12 total units. Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
How are you?
My name is Jeff Toccio, I represent the applicant. With me is Taylor Crisano from Crocker Design, and Jim Bristol from Weather Vane at Silver Street LLC is in back of us here. We put up on the board, this is 79 Silver Street, it's 9.18 acres. You folks had seen this a few years ago in a different iteration. To sum up what's happened here, we had 18 two-bedroom, 55 and over proposed several years ago, and there were questions with respect to the well regulations as to the number of bedrooms. So this has been reduced. Basically the same concept, the 55 and over townhouse, but it's been reduced to 12 one-bedroom units. So what we've done is we've used a similar array of what we've got for the units. Basically, we're looking at 4 triplexes, and the units are about 1,000 square foot each. And then we also show, you can see the small rectangle, which is slightly to the east. That would be a barn, which is about 1,800 square feet, just an accessory for lawnmowers, lawn type equipment to have there, and that's got its own separate infiltration. Overall, we're looking at 45% open space, and you've got a 30% requirement for the 55 and over townhouse developments of this size. Parking, we are probably a little overparked. We're looking at 33 spaces, 16 garage spaces, either 1 per unit, and then we've got 4 other garage which are arrayed up a little closer to Silver Street. And then we've got one parking space in front of each garage, and then I believe we've got 5 visitor spaces. So ample parking with, rather efficient array of, the impervious on the property. Going through, we've asked for, I believe, 3 waivers, and that would have to do with, first, having to show all the 10-inch plus caliper trees. In this instance, if you remember, the folks who were here before, this is all previously quarried. It's pretty much chewed up. Not a lot of tree cover. Certainly anything substantial. It's all just second growth. And we talked about that the last time. Also, we would ask for a waiver with respect to Section K of your list for the site plan review. We don't believe that a traffic report would be warranted, just given such low density of the residential use with the 12 bedrooms. And then finally, we've got the 40-foot buffer, which is required in the 55-plus townhouses. And what we show is we've got the buildings at 40 feet, but we've got at-grade patios in the rear, which I think the closest would be like 31 feet. This was also an aspect that we had as part of the plan from last time, and I believe the recommendation and the discussion had to do with the applicant has agreed to, one, we're going to retain the wooded area. It's kind of as shown on the plans. Also erect a fence. And there's also a grade difference between the abutting properties and then where the first floor will be of these buildings. It's something like 4 or 5 feet. So it arrays so that would be a very effective buffer. The septic and the wells have already been discussed with the Board of Health. So we've got the septics, which are, if I may quickly, you can see them as rectangles up close to Silver Street. So those have already been reviewed. So I think we're looking good on those. And give me 1 second, if I will. Septic, huge improvement. First, because it's the 55 and over, we're looking at the enhanced numbers for the DEP, for the gallonage per day numbers. Before, with the 18 two-bedrooms, we were looking at a design capacity of 2,700 gallons per day. Now, with 12 one-bedrooms, we're at 1,380. So, in effect, we've got about half of the daily presumed discharge for that. So those were some of the questions that the neighbors asked last time. The other had to do with just water consumption, because you've got everything on wells. Obviously, the numbers kind of reciprocally are reduced. So we're extremely efficient from that perspective. We've got the fire letter, so we've got some open issues with respect to, I think we need to go in and upgrade the truck turning radius, which won't be a problem, and that's certainly something that we owe the fire department. Also, they recommend that we have a follow-up with respect to siting and designing the hydrant, which we're agreeable to. And then the other one is that these will be sprinklered. So similar to the other project that we had done up the street where we had the sprinklers. We've got experience working with Carver Fire Department on those. I'm just going to go through my checklist. One open issue, I believe that, I do know that there's a RDA there's a quarry hole which is located to the east where the property begins to go down beyond the utility easements, and the question, I believe the conservation agent is asked about the status of that. There is a determination, or a negative determination of applicability, which remains in place until December of 2026. We've not located that document, but we do have the meeting minutes that confirm all that. We will be following up to make sure that we get all of those materials to the agent. And with that, we have not provided elevations of the buildings. They're similar. It's basically going to be the same as what we did at South Meadow. Also similar to what was shown before, obviously reduced scale, given that they're only the one-bedroom, 1,000 square feet, but the same quality, kind of the high quality, siding, roofing, etc. So good product from that perspective. They're going to have a condominium association, so we've got that which is going to be put in place with respect to, treatment of the grounds and maintenance. Again, it's not a large development, but it's large enough so that, the common scheme, particularly around a cul-de-sac which comes into the middle, that should be something, which they can put some emphasis on. Issues with respect to the last peer review, we haven't seen a peer review for this proposal yet, but the last one, we just went through the checklist. There was one open issue that, trash collection will be private, and then I anticipate at some level that we'll hear from the review if that is prepared this evening. And I think we're prepared, assuming that it's probably going to be similar to the last one, we're prepared to discuss any of, additional requirements and any additional conditions that might be warranted.
Very good.
Thank you.
Mr. Bynes, do you have anything on this project?
Good evening, Andy Glines with Fuss & O'Neill, town consultant. We have prepared a draft of our review for the updated submission. We haven't issued that to the town or the applicant yet. I'm hoping to do that tomorrow. Want to attend the meeting this evening and then make any adjustments to our draft comments. Happy to provide a general overview of our comments tonight, and can certainly address or provide any additional input that the planning board would like this evening as well. I guess initial comments, we are still carrying that comment regarding the dumpster location and pad fencing. The applicant acknowledged that the building elevations haven't been provided yet. We are commenting on that as well. Would also like to see some additional information regarding proposed site lighting and fixtures, as well as mounting heights. Recommending a condition, if the project is approved, to reiterate that the road will remain private. I know the applicant has mentioned that in their submission documents, but would like to solidify that in the decision. We have not seen from the applicant any landscaping plans or details, since the applicant is requesting a waiver from a buffer zone. I would recommend that the planning board review the landscaping plan, which might help make a determination on whether or not the planning board wants to approve that waiver. The density seems appropriate based on what the town bylaws are allowing, and as the applicant mentioned previously, they were proposing 18, so now they're down to 12. There are a handful of minor stormwater comments, mostly regarding collection and conveyance and not the overall stormwater management approach, but adding some additional drain basins to mitigate risk of localized ponding within the site, specifically in the backyards of the proposed units, and also relocating one of the catch basins that's proposed in the center island, moving that to the edge of pavement, and then adding a separate drain basin for that landscape area, just to really mitigate risk of clogging or any localized ponding there. And then also specifically regarding the infiltration system for the barn, we believe either the slope down gradient of that would need to be revised to 15% or less, or the location need to be revised so that it maintains 50-foot horizontal setback. Essentially, it's just too close to that down gradient slope. And just some minor detail and plan revisions that we'll outline in the formal review memo that, again, hoping to issue before the long weekend. Other than that, happy to provide any additional input if the planning board has any specific questions regarding the application.
Thank you. Do you have any questions on behalf of the board?
I have a few. I'm gonna I have a list, so I might cover them more than once, but let's just start with my concern over that you're requesting that the 40-foot natural buffer zone be reduced to what?
So the 40-foot, to 32. 32.
For the
'Cause
patios.
This is showing that what you're proposing for buffering along that line is anywhere down to 0.
There's no trees in it today. I think we can handle that with the landscape plan. I know Jim has talked to some of the neighbors over in that area as it relates to some of those items. But there's really not too many nice, it's not a good buffer there today since it was quarried out.
On page C2, you clearly point out existing wooded areas to be removed and disposed of off-site. And you're asking for this, the requirement for the natural vegetative buffer to be down at some points to 0. On the northwest corner where there's an existing well, it looks like there's nothing there. And then on the north-southwest corner where the proposed snow field area is, it looks like you're only proposing a couple feet of the natural buffer in that area.
Can we get somebody, I can't hear them.
So it's a natural buffer area, not necessarily like a setback.
Yep, I will do my best, thank you.
Setback.
So,
Is it a natural?
in reality, you're not looking for us to reduce the natural buffer line down to 31, 32 feet?
Right.
You're asking us to pretty much dispense of it entirely?
Yeah, Connie, we'll take a look at that.
All right.
And I think we can mitigate that with some plantings.
It's going to take a lot of mitigation, because honestly, with people already living in that area, I'm not inclined at all to approve anything that's less than the required amount of natural buffer space in that area.
Yeah. We'll get something more to you. I think that did come up last time when we went out there, we walked it, and my recollection is we said, what, you know, we were kind of impressed with the extent to which it was chewed up already because of the graveling, so I thought we reached some progress on that, but we'll get some photos and we'll get back to you.
If we need to add some more screening in there, we can work with that too.
Yeah.
Your barn should also be screened from the neighbor's property. I can see it's outside the 40-foot buffer, but it still needs some screening. If there was any sort of reduction in buffer that I would allow, that would be the area that I would allow it. Now, it looks like your proposed well is on one side of the utility lines and the development is on the other side. How do you propose to get the water from one side to the other?
By connecting it across the power line easement to the well.
Do you have approval through Eversource to do the digging and such on?
We will coordinate with Eversource. We just did the same thing on a project down in Walpole. They just prefer that you cross perpendicular, and they work with you on utility crossings and grading in the easements.
All right, we'll need a copy of that. Now, we've taken a walk on this property before, and there was extensive wetlands, and our conservation commissioner, Mr. Assing here, has some very serious concerns in regards to this, and part of that is going in and talking to the conservation board and getting an annotated description of the wetlands, because when I look at even just, we had walked it before, and there was extensive wetlands down in the eastern part of the property. But also going back and refreshing my memory, it appears that 2 holes were filled in the northwest corner. They show up on the satellite map, so I'm curious as to whether what process had been done to fill those in. So there should be some sort of paper trail in regards to Conservation Commission or something in regards to that.
That's what I was referring to with the RDA that's out there. We'll definitely follow up with the new agent.
Okay, because you get both the east and the west sides to deal with on that.
The wetlands.
They also raised a lot of concerns about where the barn and the well is being proposed, much like Mr. Glines did. What is the purpose of the barn?
It's an accessory to allow for, mowers, things that would be in control of the association.
Okay, then what's the 4-bay garage for? Just for rental, extra rental for the units, or?
Yes.
What utilities is the barn gonna have?
It will have water and electric.
It will
And-
have water?
Yeah.
And electric.
I expected electric, I wasn't so sure about the water. That will be prohibited from being developed into residential, of course.
Of course.
We're gonna have to wait for the Conservation Commission to come back in regards to confirming your net usable land area.
Do you want me to just harp on that point one more time? Or do you want me to?
Mr. Glines will confirm that we have a safe distance from the intersection for the driveway. And I expect you will provide some sort of informational sheet to show how the units vary in style, structure.
I'm sorry, from what perspective?
Well, we require that the units be varied in detail, style, form, so they're not all the same. They don't all look the same, they're not all the
Yeah,
same
renderings, I got
color.
you, Connie. Yep.
Because the 30% open space requirement excludes wetlands and buffers. 40-foot buffer retained in its natural state. He'll ensure and the building envelopes are reasonable in relation to the fire department letter. If you don't have that, I'm sure we can provide that and the letter from the conservation officer too.
Yep.
And we're gonna wanna do a site walk and make sure that the snow storage area is capable of handling the, what is being proposed.
Great.
And I would be very surprised indeed if this board was to overrule our conservation officer in his advisement against permitting loam and seed in the proposed open space.
You haven't come to this property, correct?
I don't think so. That I recall anyway. I could have. I do remember going on a few site visits over on that side of the street, but I don't know if it's particular.
Yeah, you were going to provide a landscaping plan to our engineer?
Yeah.
Excuse me, are we
Get
going
that
to
in
have
list.
citizen participation in this also? Or?
Yes, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Get the landscaping in there?
I don't have any further questions off the top of my head, Madam Chairman.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Robinson?
I'm all set. He took care of the advisement against permitting the lawn and seed in the proposed open space.
Okay, very good. All right, whereas this is a public hearing tonight, would anyone like to come up and speak on this matter?
And one more thing. Your proposed topsoil stockpile site is in the easement. That should be included in approval from Eversource because that will require heavy machinery and some digging. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. You should see what we're doing in the easement. It's huge.
You both signed in on
As
that.
long as
We did not.
As long as they're fine with it, it shouldn't
Thank
be
you.
an issue.
Public? Someone.
I'm just waiting for you two to sign in and then I'll...
Are you signing for me?
Sure.
Thank you.
Can you make a note to have Michelle make sure that both Mr. Glines and the applicant are provided with, I think, the fire departments and the conservation agents' letters?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, would anyone like to come up and speak on this matter?
Yes, good evening. Ron Walk, 6 Silver Street.
If you could just sign in as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you guys will have to excuse me. The attorney, I could barely even hear him. I'm really listening because this has been real important to a bunch of us in the neighborhood. Okay, so four buildings, they've gone down from a large amount down to 4 now. So that's going to be it for the property? Is that the end of the line, or is there going to be something else at a later date?
So that's it. So there are 4 buildings and triplexes, and there's one, that utility accessory barn, which is shown as well right here.
Yep. Okay, now is this, you guys have another operation going over on South Meadow?
Yes.
Is this affiliated with that directly, or how's this going to work?
They're separate, they're basically same development group, but they're separate projects, but they'll look like it, so the materials that are used over there will basically be similar. We owe elevations, we didn't.
Okay, so you're going to have like a low income on both areas, or is this going to be one area, or how's that work?
This has, it's all 55 plus, and it's got two moderate income, and then so it's 10 market.
Okay. Now, we discussed this, I've been here several times. What's the final elevation going to be on this property?
The final elevation is, it looks like about, what was it?
They had one point in time talked about going up 12 feet with tailings.
No, it's not, but what is it, Taylor?
It's like around 120-ish.
So it's around 120-ish, so if I take a look at the 2 properties on this side, I believe it's about 4 feet lower.
Oh my God, do you realize that? You're going to have to bring it up 6 or 7 feet to get it 4 feet lower.
I'm going to have to request that every time somebody else speaks, you have to identify yourself, please.
Taylor Persano, Carver Design Group. So as you come in off of Silva Street and kind of the same elevation as these homes, you're up around 124, 125. These houses kind of sit around 120, 121, and then the site kind of slopes off and down this way, as you know when you look out there, because you quarried down like 10 to 12 feet.
Right, it's all water on that other corner anyway.
Yeah, it's groundwater.
Okay,
so these all sit lower than what your homes are at.
So how much lower?
Probably roughly like 5-ish feet.
What are you going to fill that with to bring it up to that level?
We don't need,
Again, you have to identify yourself every time you speak. It's a pain, but
okay,
it has
Ron
to be.
Warwick, 6 Silver Street.
Thank you, Ron. I
Okay,
appreciate it.
I'll try to remember. I have a lot of questions. I hope I'm not being too much of a pain in the ass to everybody.
So
I don't understand if you're going to bring it up that much, you got to fill it with something.
We don't have to, Taylor Persano, Crocker Design Group, we do not have to bring it up that much. The site over here, we're kind of staying at existing grade. It starts to drop down. They did initially fill in a little back here because it was kind of sloping off onto this property.
I live across the street. It's down. If
Yeah,
you're-
and we're kind of following the grade as best we can. So there will be a little bit of filling down here, but they own and operate.
So you're gonna have that in a hole? That's a 12-foot hole.
So it's gonna flatten out. It's just that as you get over here, it's gonna be lower. It's not like drastically
Well, you
lower.
really can't go
Ron?
lower on that end. Ron Warwick, 6 Silver Street. You really can't go lower on that end.
Right, right. If we get questions, we can ask them, but we're not here to
Yeah.
argue over
Yeah.
things. But yes, you've brought it to our attention, and I believe Mr. Glines will be able to address that from our perspective at our next meeting. So we'll make sure that he ensures that he takes a close look at exactly what is going on. Because I understand you're concerned about the topography of the area, as are we, because it is, the way the area was used in the past, it has created a lot of issues
Well, it
for
was
that
Ron
property.
Warwick, 6 Silver Street. They did fill a pond in there. An existing little pond that's was there since, well, I don't know, like there's neighbors that said they got there in the early 70s or
Was that in
late
the-
60s.
Where the proposed houses were?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw that they filled something in on the
Oh, yeah.
satellite plans, and that's why we asked for...
Yeah, it wasn't that deep. It was probably 5 feet, maybe at the deepest, but it was there for the animals and the irrigation when they were growing garden and stuff out there. Yeah, that's going to be one big question, is just finding out what the elevation is going to be, because that's down in the hole. All right, so you're going to have Ron Warwick, 6 Silver Street, you're going to have deep well or shallow well?
I don't think we know until we dig it, but I think it'll be
Just be a deep well.
deep well.
I have just basic surface water, groundwater, but most of the other people in the neighborhood have deeper wells. So that would be a concern for more of them. Even if they went deep, it probably wouldn't bother me at all. I haven't had a problem in 40 years. I don't want any problems. The next situation is, I'm thinking they're going to have to come in with some fill and then compact it. Now, this is going to be an issue. I've run all kinds of equipment. Anything you can possibly imagine, I've run it. And when you get big compactor vibrators in there, rollers and such, things break. Foundations crack. I don't know, I mean, most of the neighbors closer to it have poured foundations. Well, that's a heck of a lot stronger than my block foundation at my house across the street, which I'm probably a couple hundred feet away, which I know how it works. I've run all the equipment and I know what happens under certain circumstances. The elevation is going to be the big thing. All right. So you're going to be using, you're probably going to have to use them anyways, but it would be nice to have some protection if my foundation goes to heck, you know? I mean, I've been here 40 years, so it's in pretty good shape. I try to keep it decent, so that would be one of my concerns. They did talk at one time about putting like sidewalks in. I remember they discussed that once, and I was curious whether that was ever going to take place. It was going to go up to Silver Street and then down like to 58 on one side, which is...
I'll answer. Jeff Toccio, that was requested back when it was 36 bedrooms. Now we're basically at 12 bedrooms, so we suggested there's something to keep the pedestrian demand.
Okay, Ron Warwick, 6 Silver Street. Now, you said there was going to be a barrier. I know 5 Silver Street and 4 Main Street are the direct butters in that area. And it was also discussed that there was going to be a fence put up and some sort of foliage, trees or whatever, so there'd be a barrier. So no, I mean, these guys are here tonight, and that was one of their concerns too, so I can save them a lot of grief. I'll just ask the question.
Yep,
So-
Jeff Toccio, yes, we'll have the landscape plans. I believe someone's had discussions from last time. Our intention is to install a fence, and they have the supplementary plantings. We'll actually show that on the landscape plan.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I think that pretty well covers it. Like I say, my deepest concern was if you're going to bring it up to the elevation, I think you're going to bring it up to, because they've already brought in lots of tailings. And you start compacting that stuff, I don't care, you can compact it till the cows come home. When you're coming up that much, it was what I think this is going to be. Give it 10 or 15 years, all your foundations are going to be cracked anyway.
Great. So what Jeff Toccio will follow up with Andy, the peer reviewer, and I'm sure he's going to have that on his list to make sure that he's satisfied. Appreciate that, Mr. Wood.
Okay, I think, was there anything else I missed or what? What was it?
She said traffic.
Okay, Ron Warwick, 6 Silver Street. How about the traffic? I mean, it shouldn't be that bad with the, versus what it was gonna be.
Yeah, it's Jeff Toccio responding. I think Andy's going to take a look at some of the site distances. For 12 bedrooms, they're not going to run a traffic. What they would typically do is look at the closest light, they'll do warrants. This, I would respectfully suggest, it's so de minimis. I mean, we'd be talking about, if I would, in the morning, it's time to go to work, you might get one car, every 2 minutes, and 4 cars leave, and, there are no other cars for another half hour when, someone else has to go to work. Our experience on small residentials, particularly the 55 and olders, are that it's extremely low traffic usage.
Okay, Ron Warwick, 6 Silver Street. So these were what, 1 bedrooms?
Yes.
Now, how many people does that allow in there?
The presumption under the, Jeff Toccio, the presumption under the basically the well regulations is they make you assume 2 people per bedroom. So each well can support a maximum of 24 people, which is why we're restricted to the 12 bedrooms, because there's that presumption of 2 people per bedroom. So that's kind of where Title V, where the wellhead regulations come out. You tell me if it's going to be 1 person or 2 people. I just don't know what the family situation is going to be. But I would suggest it's not going to be 3 people.
Okay, Ron Warwick, 6 Silver Street. Now, the well situation, you guys are actually going to be fairly close to the other deep wells in the area. Like I say, it probably won't bother mine. I've got 2 point wells. So under the circumstances where something happens and one of these wells go dry, what will be their recourse? Spend $10,000, $15,000 to put a new well in themselves? I mean, how is this going to work?
I don't know as I sit here today. I can perhaps speak with your town council and see if we can come up with an answer for you.
Okay, so I can contact you some other time, or?
Oh, sorry.
No. No, it would have to go through the planning board.
Oh, okay.
You'd have to contact the planning board directly, or the administrative board department
yeah.
downstairs, yeah.
But perhaps we could work on, a response that everyone feels comfortable with.
Yeah, I'm retired, so I'm going to be able to see everything that goes on, so
Yeah.
it's not a problem. If it's done right, it's done right. If it's not, I'll know, so. Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Anyone else like to get up and speak?
You can't ask about traffic again.
I am, because here's the thing.
You have to identify
Well, come on
yourself
up.
and sign in, please.
Come on up
ma'am.
and say hi.
Hello.
Hi there.
I do ask about the traffic because I
Ma'am, could you just
live
identify yourself, please, for the
Alice
record?
McMahon, 2 Silver Street.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I do live at 2 Silver Street, and right now, it is very difficult with the amount of traffic that's on that road to try to get into my driveway or out of my driveway.
So you,
I'm up near the lights.
so you're this way.
I'm up at the lights.
Are you through the intersection or right on the corner?
I'm right at the corner. So for us, if we take the turn onto Silver Street, there's a line of traffic waiting to get through the light. There's been a number of times we've almost been rear-ended because of people coming around the corner to come down Silver Street because we're stuck there. But right now, it is very difficult, and I do have 2 other drivers in the house that will say that, for us to get in and out of our driveway, because people want to make that light, and they'll just sit there, and they won't budge. Or they speed through the light, or speed it up to get through the light.
Right.
Been a number of accidents because of that.
Yeah.
So to me, adding these extra, because you're going to come right out on Silver Street, unless they're going to go right towards Plymouth, the 44, they're going to be heading out in my area.
Right.
And that's just going to add to the traffic situation. I don't see it. I just have a big concern about that.
So Jeff Toccio, I think if you can identify, we've identified where Ms. McMahon is, whether there's anything particular to the site design that
Jeff, let's, we'll wait a minute till, because we can't pick you up on this very well, so unless you're gonna speak really loud, I'm gonna have to ask you to move back to the microphone.
That's my concern. It is difficult, as I say now. Plus, you forgot the 55-plus community there, Waterview, which has a number of ambulances coming down the street. So there's a big concern, I think, as far as that traffic situation's concerned, and I think it is going to have an effect on us. They may not think so, but I do. Because you're adding, what, 12 more homes, and even if they only have 1 car apiece, you're adding 12 more cars to that street.
Right.
And that's concern.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know. Great. Jeff Toccio, returning to respond to Ms. McMahon. I just suggest that the peer reviewer will take a look at that and see if there are any design components, anything that would cause the problems. I think that I know where her driveway is near the intersection, so I'm sure he'll comment on whether it's something that's inherent to her property. And then ultimately, if the waiver isn't granted, if we have to do a traffic review, it's not going to be a situation where, I'm positive it's not going to be a situation where they say the introduction of 12 bedrooms on Silver Street is going to produce safety concern or in any way be injurious to the neighborhood. So I just suggest that you ask your peer reviewer to take a look at it. I believe I know what the answer perhaps is, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Please.
Hi, my name is Gail Isidorian, and I am directly in front of the hole. And my concern is the water. Last time we were here, they said they would discuss it with me if they would cover if anything, my wells went dry or anything, and I'd like to know if you've discussed this with your people and what will be done.
So, Jeff Toccio, I do remember that, and I do remember you, and Jim Bristol is writing back to you, so he's going to give you the card.
Okay.
And just resume those, whatever conversations. I do remember that.
Thank you.
Right, you bet.
Anyone else? Would you like to speak on this matter? Hearing none.
I just have one last question.
Okay.
You're not bringing materials on soil onto the property and using it as a storage site or doing site work over there, are you?
No.
Because there were questions raised by the satellite pictures, so that's I figure. And then Ron back there mentioned that there might be imported soils on the site.
Yeah, if I recall, so I'm trying to remember back a few years, we did have these discussions because somebody did say there was a pond and there were frogs. Historically, there are quarry cuts that are here, and what happened was they dug them down so much that they interrupted the groundwater level, and it created these, kind of artificial pits. There has been 2 rounds of requests for determination of applicability to confirm that those were not jurisdictional wetlands. So there was a first one back before COVID, if I recall, and then the most recent one was, I want to say 2023, December of 2023. So the Conservation Commission has already been asked to look at, on both instances, whether these water pools are or are not wetland, jurisdictional, etc. And as of right now, and we have to get our hands on it, the answer is no. And it's no, because those are good for 3 years, the answer is no through a year from now. So we've not spoken to the agent, and I understand that it's a new agent, and we don't have access right now to the determination, but we do have their meeting minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow up with the agent and show them everything that we have. But my recollection for the one with, let's say, on the west side, was that this was the old quarry. If you remember, it was really extreme. And Mr. Bristol did bring in some material to start smoothing it out, so that's why it's got some smooth appearance now. But when we do go out there on the site visit, I mean, we'll all kind of remember just the grades. Another thing that comes up is when we talked about this accessory building, Taylor Corsano confirmed to me, this is about a 10-foot grade differential. So when we do go out there, when we look at the buffers, there are those cut grades that do exist. That's what we meant by, on some of the cut grades, they're just, not only is there no 10-inch or greater caliber trees, a lot of that's just scrubby, low stuff. So when we look at the natural condition, it's not what we'd expect just because of the past work that's been done out there. So I'll just mention that, so when people kind of leave here, we have the holidays, whenever we're going to reconvene there, that, I just to, have that image in people's brains. I remember you guys were there before, not everyone has been there, but it's a good site walk. It's a bigger property than you think once you're out there on foot.
Would you like to come forward, sir?
Yes. I'm Donald Clark, and I've been there since '69, been there 56 years. And right behind, on 4 Main Street, right behind my property, there's a hole there. It must be 10 or 12 feet down. That's where the pond was. There was a pond there. It had ducks, it had frogs in it, and for all I know, it could have had fish. That was there when I was there, when I moved there in 69.
Okay.
And now they say it's a wetland. It's wetland, all right. There's a hell of a lot of hole there that if they fill that up, they're going to do a lot of compacting, and it's going to raise hell with the wells, the cellars, everything. I've got almost 300 foot joined to this. It was 2 lots when I bought it, and they snuck it into 1 lot. It's almost 300 foot, and they're on my land there, right up to it.
Okay.
and there's a hell of a big hole.
Very good. Can you sign in, please?
But I don't know, that land shouldn't have been taken out of there in the first place. The town didn't do right by letting them take all that loom out, all the little sand and loom. Right now, it's really good for cranberry bogs. It is. People go look at it.
Oh, we're going to look
I
at
look at it all the time. I'm right there. Like I
will be
say, I've been
going
there 56 years.
Yeah.
Well, better put a cranberry bog in there so the houses.
Yeah, and
Thank
Jeff Toccio, it's, a lot of the comments, we received last time, and I don't think there's a lot of disagreement. It was just, it was quarried hard, and it was brought down to the water table, and we're dealing with what is there now today, and we've got a good solution to be able to put in a modest number of the residential units with a kind of a modest affordability piece with, a very low bedroom count. And, we'll ask that Crocker Design tailor from there, and then also Andy go through and make sure that, it's going to meet design standards for putting it together. With respect to wells, we'll follow up on that, and I know that from last time, and I thank you, Mr. Bristol did have some conversations with some of the neighbors as well, so I'll ask that continue.
Very good.
And for everyone, he's got his cards, and I encourage you to contact him after this evening. This is probably the 12th project that we've worked on together, and a lot of this goes on. He's really good at speaking with people, and we've had really good results.
Can I have your cards then? I'll call you. Come down and take a look sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you was the one? I didn't recognize you.
Any other question from residents or public? No? We're going to continue. Would you like to make a motion to continue if we don't have any other further comments from the board?
Are we going to
Site work?
the 16th of December, or I don't think the 23rd is a night that anybody wants to be here.
I'm sorry, is that first site walk?
Oh, no, we haven't discussed the site walk. We were just talking about when we might continue it to. Mr. Glyons needs to be part of this. You feel comfortable within December sometime?
Andy Lyons with Fuston O'Neill. I'm pretty much holding Tuesday meeting nights for foreseeable future, so.
So, when are our proposed next meetings? I know they're on
Well, we want to stay away from the week of the 22nd for
You
sure.
already continued one to the 9th.
Yes,
the 9th?
yeah. We'll probably have to have another meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have one probably on the 16th.
I would have to say so.
Yeah, future meetings.
That's your name here, right? Okay.
So,
Yeah, we do have us down for the 9th and the 16th.
That's all we should have done.
So, I'll make a motion to continue weather vane at Silver Street, 7 and 9 Silver Street, Carver, Mass. Special permit until December 16th, 2025, 7 p.m. Carver Town Hall, Room 1.
Very good.
I'll second that.
Mr. Lake?
Aye. Evan Robinson says aye.
Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Stillo says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Does the board want to discuss a site walk at this time, or?
Sure.
have that coordinated. You want to do that?
Please.
Any preference, any day of the week?
You said the request for determination was in 2023?
Yes.
Part of the Concom?
Yes.
Okay, so I was on Concom at that time, so I don't know. Am I able to participate if I was on Concom when they did?
Sure.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
Okay. Any preference, anyone?
Wednesdays and Thursdays?
It'd have to be a Saturday probably because of the lack of lighting, unless I can make it during the day on any day.
That's right.
I would agree, it would probably have to be on a Saturday.
So other than that, I'm good for any daytime, Thursdays, Saturdays, Mondays and Tuesdays.
That's good for you.
I mean, I would prefer it to be something around 9 o'clock on a Thursday.
9 a.m.?
I can't do that. Are you available at all on a Saturday, Kevin?
I'm not available on Saturdays.
Okay.
If it rains, sure.
I could do a Friday if anyone's available on a Friday morning. You can.
I am, yep.
I could do that.
Could you do a Friday, Kevin?
I can do any weekday. Before
Chris?
10 a.m. to work.
What?
Fifth?
That's fine. As long
Alan,
as
you
it's in the
good with
morning.
a Friday?
For me, as long as it's in the morning.
We're going to the 16th. Do we want to do
12th maybe?
the
Is that-
12th?
May I ask if we could do the 5th? I'm on trial that week of the 12th in Dedham.
Okay. Do you want to do Friday, December 5th? Everyone?
Yeah.
What was it, Saturday?
Friday, December 5th?
Believe me, I'd rather be with you folks.
9 a.m.?
Yeah.
9 a.m.?
And you'll have the roads, the buildings staked out.
We can make that work, yes.
Yes.
Including parking garages, the barn.
Yep.
Do you want the center line of the road staked?
The center line of the road is fine. Just make sure we know where the middle of the roundabout's gonna go.
Sure.
And
And is it okay if we stake the four corners of the triplex? Not like each individual unit?
you can do each
Triplex.
three units, and make sure you include the proposed patios.
What are we using for an address?
7 to 9.
I think 7 is best. I think 7's the closest one. So 7 Silver Street, there's an entrance still there that you can see, like right where the power lines are.
Very good.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, you as well.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, next on the agenda this evening, we have a public hearing on Tremont Street Solar One LLC requesting a special permit and site plan review, 73 Tremont Street in Carver, Mass. Assessors map 121, lot 4-0, in the residential agricultural zoning district to construct solar floating dual-use canal canopy and ground-mounted solar arrays with associated PSS. Good evening.
Okay, thanks. Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. Is this our microphone?
Yes.
That's our mic, okay. For the record, Sarah Stearns with Beals and Thomas. With me is Matt Swansberg from New Leaf Energy, representing the applicant Tremont Street Solar One LLC. We also have several other representatives, as well as the landowner and their family tonight. The goal of tonight is to present the project, discuss any preliminary feedback the board or the public may have, hopefully set up a site visit with the board, and request a continuance to our next hearing. And with that, I can give an overview of the project if that is the board's wish, and then we can pause and have a discussion or take questions. I know we also have the town's peer reviewer here as well. So we have not heard anything yet from Fuss & O'Neill, but I assume, this, like many other projects, will be a work in process. So we will, be interacting as the project evolves. So we have and I apologize, I had my computer with me. We've been very consistent sharing digitally on the screens, so I was prepared to do that, but I have the backup plan here today. I know it's a little hard to see, but in a minute I'll get up and sort of point to some of the aspects of the project. So as the chair mentioned, this is the address is 73 Tremont Street, map 121, parcel 4. This is a very large property, about 330 acres. If you drive on Tremont Street in South Carver, you'll see the Edgewood Boggs LLC sign at the end of the driveway. So that's the entrance to the main property, but it is very large and goes well beyond that. So as I mentioned, the applicant is Tremont Street Solar 1 LLC. The primary operation on this site is a cranberry operation. You can see from the plans several bogs in various orientations. What we're proposing at this point is a multifaceted renewable energy project on the site. And I will point out what's what in a moment, but just to give the board a sense of what is being proposed here. There is a floating solar component as part of this on a human-made pond used for their agricultural operation. There is a dual-use solar component on several bogs where the bogs will stay in production. There are several canal canopy arrays, and those are similar to others we've seen on other sites as well. And lastly, a segment of ground-mounted, sort of the conventional ground-mounted arrays in other areas of the site. And so of that, that makes up, all of those components make up approximately 30 acres on this 330 acre plus or minus site. So it is a large project, but it's a very large site. So just kind of giving you a sense of the scale here. I just wanted to mention too that this is a project that the Rhodes family, the landowners, have been extremely involved in the thoughtful, iterative process of developing this with the Renewable Energy Development Company. This has been a discussion that has taken place over not just months, but I believe years. So this has been thoughtfully discussed and has been refined several times. I think I've probably only seen a small percentage of the different iterations myself, but so located in places so that it's a well-sited project, both from being set back away from other landowners and abutters, but also so that it is not impactful to the main and primary business, which they plan to continue, which is the cranberry operations on this site. So I'll get up and just kind of point out some of the features that I just talked about. I'm gonna have to turn it over to you guys. And again, I know it's a little hard to see, but we added the aerial photo just to give you a sense of the openness of the site. So, no tree clearing proposed on this project. This is all very wide open. The only area, this is Tremont Street here, just to orient you. The only area where there's any site grading of any substance proposed is right at the entrance, and this is the transmission line that runs through South Carver here, the Eversource line. And the point of interconnection and access for this site is proposed right at that transmission line off of Tremont Street in South Carver. So this whole area is disturbed. It's used by Eversource to access their easement, so we're proposing to utilize that area as well. That's really the only area that's going to require any grading to make a road that's appropriate for access for the array itself, but also for public safety. So I'm just going to kind of go like north to south. If it's confusing, I can do it a different way, but just arbitrarily start from the top of the page. So we have these little symbols, are wetland symbols. So this site has been delineated. We have not been to Carver Conservation Commission yet. We're submitting our notice of intent imminently, and we'll be visiting with them once we get on a scheduled agenda, and we'll be walking the site with them, I'm sure. But you can see there's a large area of wetland, untouched wetland, on the northern side of the power easement. There is one existing bog up here. This bog has a dual-use array proposed within it. There are also 3 rows of canopy solar in this area. It's sort of on an island, sort of surrounded by that wetland area.
Is that identified as C on the map?
C. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. And this is just for presentation, so it may be slightly different from what you're looking at. So there's a road connecting the rest of the property through this wetland area. These 2 segments, these are existing upland bogs. This is not a bog, but a previously disturbed area just north of the easement. These are 2 proposed conventional ground-mounted arrays. So no dual use, just kind of a everyday solar array. That is also where the equipment pad is housed. This is proposed in a location where it's sort of set back away from any of the residential abutters on Tremont Street, and just, at a place where it's accessible for service. So ground mounted and dual use, and then coming across the right of way, you can see in the dark rectangles here, this is a proposed floating solar component, and then 2 fog proposed dual use components. Again, really just a lot of, and the canal canopies. Sorry, those are kind of hard to see, but through the existing canals that are built between the bogs. So those are the components of the proposal. And again, just various iterations to get to this point to allocate areas that require the least disturbance, both to the land itself, but also to the farming operations as well. I want to note too that we will be submitting an additional, and this is probably for Mr. Glines particularly, we will plan to submit a supplemental plan set with more 40 scale sheets so that the details a little bit easier to review as part of your work. As we were preparing the Conservation Commission plan set, we realized that a little more detail would benefit just given the scale of the property. So that will be submitted to the board and to Fuss & O'Neill as well as the Conservation Commission. So we're all looking at the same plan. It's all going to show the same information, but just broken up in a way that's a little bit easier to digest. So I can turn it over to Matt Swansburg from the applicant to fill in any holes that I've left.
You didn't leave many holes. Matt Swansburg, project developer at New Leaf Energy. Thank you for having us this evening. As Sarah mentioned, we've been working with Edgewood Boggs for going on 5 years now to develop this project. I think what's really important to note here is that Edgewood Boggs will continue to own the property. We're not proposing to purchase any land from Edgewood Boggs. We will be leasing the land from them. The goal was to incorporate solar on this property without impacting the core business of growing and producing cranberries. So we went about this in a way to identify areas of the property where the landowner can continue to grow cranberries where we're not in the way, but we can incorporate solar to generate lease revenue for Edgewood Bogs. This is a long-term commitment for Edgewood. They've been doing this for 3 generations or 4 generations at this point, and they're going to continue to operate this farm for the foreseeable future. So it took a long time to get to this point where we have this design in front of you today, but working with the landowner, we're very confident that when solar is designed the right way, when the time is taken to work with a landowner like this, we can incorporate solar on a working cranberry farm like this. We also have with us
Have
to...
you?
Yep.
Excuse me, have you been successful at that?
Have we been personally successful?
Yeah.
This will be my first project that I think when we all get back together after it's built, knock on wood, this will be a successful project. My company, New Leaf, is currently in the development phase of these projects, but what we've really leaned on are the experiences that other developers and installers have had with this type of project on cranberry bogs.
So you will see this through to the end?
Correct.
You will not flip this?
So the New Leaf business model is twofold. We choose which projects we own and keep on our balance sheet. At this stage, we haven't earmarked this project either way. We do sell projects to long-term owner-operators, an independent power producer, but that decision comes much later on towards the end of our development cycle.
I think you probably know where I'm going with this question and why I'm asking this, because of recent developments in South Carver of a solar company coming in, and now, well, they purchased the land, so I'm glad to know that the Rhodes family will continue to maintain this and own this, and they're very well respected, but my concern is whether or not the dual use can even be accomplished.
Sure.
Because another project fails so miserably, and I would hate to see something like that put on cranberry bogs and fail at it.
Yeah,
Because I almost think it's a project that was designed and a concept that was designed, and I don't think the people that were behind it actually knew what they were doing. So.
And if I could add one thing too, Madam Chair. For this project, seeing what others have gone through on various types of dual-use agriculture, whether it's bog or other commodities, I think a lot has been gleaned from past projects, like anything.
Right.
And I will say for this project, the development team has sort of taken a different tact. And I have been part of other dual-use projects, and it has been approached differently. This is a very experienced team that's been put together, but the biggest difference from my perspective is that we've met with the town, and I meant to say this in my opening statement, but we have met with the department heads at the town as a group, and then from there have met separately several times, both at town hall here and on site with Carver's wiring inspectors, to talk about specific design elements that may have not been included or were overlooked or unknown in some of the early stage projects. That feedback and discussion has been critical to the specifics of the design elements, the safety, the discussion of what can be done to encapsulate certain aspects of the electrical design. Things that may not have been thought of in early projects.
Right.
Maybe they were, but I think perhaps not at this early design stage. So I will say that that has been kind of a different take on it. We've worked with both Carver's electrical inspectors and walked the site with them, talked about various aspects that could be incorporated, talked to the landowner about it. Everybody's on board to make this work, particularly the dual use aspect of it. I think the canopies, the conventional ground mount. It's been done. It's fairly straightforward. We've seen it several places in several communities. Certainly the dual use and the floating are still relatively new concepts, and getting that input and having those very frank and open discussions both with Carver Fire Department and the inspections office has been instrumental. And this company has changed some of their standard designs to reflect that input. So, and that's what's being presented as part of this project with the landowner support and input as well. So it's just been a very collaborative discussion, both on the municipal side, whereas sometimes, more often than not, the inspections group doesn't see these plans until they come to their office at the pre-construction stage, not necessarily at this design and permitting stage. So we've really tried to front end that discussion with this project because it has so many elements. It's complex, it's diverse. We want to make sure we're incorporating that now. And, we've gotten the feedback from the town that let's keep doing this, let's keep having these conversations, even while you're working with the planning board and conservation commission. And, I think everyone is committed to continuing doing that.
Matt Swansburg with New Leaf. One other point that I want to make is that I think one of the major differences here, in addition to us leasing the land from Edgewood Boggs is also going to be harvesting. They're going to continue to grow. So we're not bringing in a third party to harvest the cranberries. It's critical for Edgewood Boggs that this works.
Well, I would think so, because everyone knows what their cranberry bogs look like.
They're
very
beautiful.
well maintained. They're beautiful. So I can't imagine that they would do this, and destruct their bogs in any way, shape, or form. So
Absolutely. We also have, and I'd love to just take a couple of minutes. We have Ian Ward here also from Solar Ag Services. He is our dual use consultant and has probably the most experience in this room with dual use, some of the trials and tribulations and lessons learned that we've sort of incorporated here.
Hello all. Ian Ward, Solar Agricultural Services.
I got you.
Thank you. So it's interesting for me to be back here in front of you talking about a dual use project because there are a lot of lessons that we've learned from the first go around that we had years ago. And those are very valuable to incorporate into this. What I would consider, this is like version 3. Version 1, just to set the stage, version 1 was what you're experiencing now, as we are, on the projects in South Carver.
version the failed projects
with challenges.
failed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still to be salvaged, I would say. Version 2 are ones that have been seen in towns like Kingston and Plimpton, where there's lessons were learned from version 1, and version 2 is that much better. Version 3 is what you're seeing, or what you see more details in here, where it's an iterative process. This was a new program. The State Department of Energy and Department of Ag Resources and UMass collectively have been studying this over a number of years now. So there's a lot of information that's going into this that the Rhodes family is benefiting from. So our role in this is to help parlay that information, because there has been a sometimes less consistent parlaying of that information. So that's been our role. This would be going through the same process. There's a SMART 3.0 it's called now. So you go through the Clean Energy Extension. This application would go through the Clean Energy Extension, which gets reviewed by the Department of Agricultural Resources and gets approved by the Department of Energy. So that same process that you've seen other dual-use projects go through is this process as well. From a marketing, cranberry marketing, and a compelling, is this viable perspective, this is the best project that we've been involved with thus far. So happy to answer questions from a agricultural perspective today or in the future, and the Rhodes family, I'm sure, can also answer questions.
Very good. Does anyone on the board have any questions?
Not specific to agriculture.
No.
No. I do have questions, though. So you're requesting to be waived from the screening requirements, but as we've already seen with our poster child in South Carver, it turns out that that's a very bad idea. So come up with some concepts in regards to that. That's my first concern. Is all the wires gonna be underground?
Hi, this is Brandon Smith. I'm with New Leaf Energy, civil engineer. So as for the wiring, you'll see details on the plan. The majority of the wiring will be underground. So from the dual use arrays, they'll be dropping underground, and basically they'll be with underground in an MV trench all the way to the equipment pads. And then from the equipment pad area here, underground, all the way to the interconnection area, well, they'll be above ground, such, similar to a typical solar facility that I'm sure you've seen before with interconnection equipment on pole mounted.
How many telephone poles are planned to be put in at the interconnection site?
I believe it is 8 separate poles here, not counting the point of interconnection.
Could you more accurately, for our next meeting, put them on the map, where you're planning on putting them, how many you're planning on putting them? I'm not sure where we are on the 65-foot and 100-foot, is there not really clearly marked on this?
If I can jump in, Sarah Stearns, Beals and Thomas. Related to the wetland buffer zones that you're Mr. Shea, those will be clearly marked on the supplemental set that's coming to you in the colors denoted by the Conservation Commission. So it will be a lot clearer in the supplemental plans coming. To your first question, if you'd like me to just touch on your screening comment. I'm
gonna have to, if you're gonna sit there.
Yeah.
You wanna come over?
Back to the hot seat?
Yeah, please.
I kind of liked it over there better. Sarah Stearns with Beals and Thomas. Just to respond to Mr. Shea's comment/question about the screening discussion, given the distance of the only visible portion of this project off of Tremont Street, the canopies, and I'll just point to them here, most likely, so this area, and it's off the screen, but Tremont Street runs this way. There's a guardrail at Tremont Street here, and obviously this is wide open. This distance is approximately 2,000 feet, half a mile. So we thought it would make sense when we do our site visit to have those staked out and look at it from various viewpoints with the board to have a discussion about what would be the best option there. So, we did put the request into the application, but obviously the applicant is open to having that discussion. I think it just is going to make more sense to all of us to do it on site and then pick it back up in our next hearing as well.
So the far eastern side by Tremont Street, where your proposed interconnection is going, is going to be fully screened?
The grade at the Eversource transmission line is conducive to low to no visibility of this project. Again, I think it will help tremendously to go out there and see it for ourselves and make a decision on that. And if there is something that is required, we can certainly work that into the plans. But I think it makes sense for us to look at it together. There's a lot of grade change over there, so I think in a helpful way.
All right. Tremont Street should be marked on this. Kind of left it out. But more than that, where is your frontage and how does it provide accessible access to the building sites?
We're off the page with the frontage on this exhibit, but there's significant frontage for this property along Tremont Street in several locations, including the access point. for the point of interconnection. There's access at the 73 Tremont Street drive itself that takes you to the entirety of the site, but also at the point of connection, there's frontage there where the road is proposed.
Isn't that owned by N-Star?
No, there's a small triangle, I guess, if you will, owned by this property owner where the access road is proposed.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give us a little more information on that and
Yep.
the width, the access, and yeah, you're gonna have to show that this site is accessible, both portions of this site are accessible from your frontage as well.
Yep, will do.
This board has not approved any sort of battery energy storage within 100 feet of any wetland or 200 feet from any river. So I would make sure that that's sorted out, because it's hard to tell, because I can't tell where the 100-foot buffer is, but it should be well away from it, it should be bermed, and it should be contained. And at the moment, that's all I have. And also, you should, all your buffers should be shown from other properties too.
Yes, we've clarified the 200-foot setback in our next iteration of plans so that it's easier to see.
Any other questions from the board?
No, Mr. Glines, that if this proposed access, can we just take a very close look at that? Thank you.
Good evening, Andy Glines with Fuss O'Neill Town Peer Review Consultant. Again, as similar to the previous application this evening, we have a draft review memo that we're hoping to finalize. Most likely won't get this one out this week, but as soon as we can the following week, to give the applicant time to review and respond to the comments. And I guess again, I can run through a couple of the initial comments we have at the moment. One item, I guess, really more of a definition clarification that's come up previously in town. Currently, the town bylaws don't specifically define floating solar array. You know, Fuss O'Neill included some language regarding what our opinion is on that, and whether or not the local bylaw is applicable to the floating solar array under the ground-mounted Article 3-6. I believe the planning board previously agreed with that opinion, but you know, it's up to the planning board if they'd like legal counsel to make a formal determination on that, as it seems it may be a recurring component of future applications in town. So the handful of items will be deferred to the fire department, and as usual, Fuss O'Neill will continue to coordinate with the deputy fire chief to make sure that Fuss O'Neill's comments are consistent with the fire department's comments regarding emergency access, safety, and ground fuel control. We also share the planning board's concern with proximity of the battery storage. You know, I will solidify that in a written comment, but we believe, given the size of this site, there are more suitable locations that may have you know, more horizontal separation from wetlands on this property that can be considered. The array height has come up where the current details do call for anticipated maximum height, but obviously there's it's a reference point given the actual finished grade of the beneath the panels. And then for this particular project where there's multiple array types proposed with the tracker panels, standard ground mounted and canopy, we're going to recommend that the applicant and the board agree to maximum heights for each panel type. And in the past, there's been an agreement that there's maximum height that's written in the condition of approval is higher than what the applicant's proposing, just to give a little bit of flexibility in the actual undulating topography out of the site, especially on bogs. But we would like that solidified because that will also come into play with the screening assessment for the different array types, as well as make sure that there's a clear threshold if the applicant during their building permit process makes any changes to those proposed array mounting approaches, that there's a clear threshold on when they would need to come back to the planning board for a minor modification, and then another review from this board. Also recommending conditions for all array types, specifically regarding the footing design or any type of subsurface component. Again, the applicant's including a typical detail for each array type, but given experience and as these projects get progressed to the building department, want to make sure that there's a clear material that the planning board approved, and that any changes in the materials would need to come back to the planning board if that is revised later. But certainly understand, when the applicant, if and when they get approval from this board, there's a lot more engineering and design that needs to go into their project to, work with manufacturers and select the appropriate mounting equipment. And for this particular project, they'll have to do that, I think, four different times. So. But I appreciate what the applicant and the property owners are trying to do, and be flexible on what type of mounting approach to use for the varying site conditions here. I just want to make sure that each one of those array types has some guardrails on it, so that the applicant and the town are very clear on what is approved and what would need to come back before this planning board.
Very good. Thank you.
If I may, Madam Chair, Sarah Stearns, the Fields and Thomas, one more thing I neglected to add. We did actually receive some preliminary comments from Carver Fire Department this afternoon, right before the hearing. So we'll pass those along if you haven't seen them, or I'm sure Michelle will in the office. Very reasonable requests, and, in typical fashion, discussion of access as well as the battery storage, with some suggestions for revisions to plans, which we will absolutely incorporate into our supplemental set as well.
Very good. Any other questions from the board? No. Hearing none, whereas this is a public hearing, would anyone like to come forward and speak on this matter?
Hi, Catherine Harrelson, Community Land and Water Coalition. We're a Plymouth-based nonprofit grassroots organization. And actually, my comments have already been answered, but we were simply going to ask about the wetlands on the property. Looked like according to page 4 of the site plans, it looked like the work was within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. And just going online, we didn't see any sort of notice of intent. So that was going to be the question: is this going to go before the Carver Conservation Commission? And then the second question is regards to the bogs themselves, their status in regards to the Carver regulations when it comes to wetlands. Are they going to be considered wetlands under the Carver bylaw, or are they going to be considered upland? So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? Please.
Matthew Rhodes, face to Edgewood, and my family as well. So I'm not sure where to start because it has been almost 5 years that we've been looking at this. And I think it's important for everyone to understand that farming is an unpredictable yearly task, and that if we are going to continue farming, we had options. We sell house lots, they're gone forever. And we've seen several proposals tonight. Sorry, I have some dental work, but that doesn't come back. And that's not our intent, because our intent is we're almost a 100-year company. We're going to continue. We have our own processing facility, our own brand. So in consideration for what we did for solar for the next generation and maybe the generation after that, is how do we bring in other revenue? Because you can't continue to support next generations without further building your company. And the solar seemed like an idea that might work. And I was skeptical 5 years ago, but as we worked through it, and I've been to every single project that's been built and sat and watched the sun and went to the harvest to see and make sure that they were picking cranberries. Our intention is we're going to invest in these acres, hundreds of thousands of dollars, to revamp them and sort of take a hybrid approach to where the solar will be. I believe it will work. I believe that we need the fruit, so it was very clear from our family standpoint that one, it's not going to destroy the visual aspect of our property. It's not going to be near any road source, and we have to be able to grow cranberries. So if we dry harvest or wet harvest, we have a facility that can do that. So I just think it's important for everyone to understand farming isn't guaranteed, and you got to come up with other ideas to maintain the farm. So if you want to keep farming in the community, there has to be a logical approach. In the 5 years that we've worked with the solar company, safety was a major factor. And I would say that we had the opportunity to say what we wanted, and that's how things were developed in the design program. And I think that all of that put together seems to make sense as a small portion of the property to be able to, and it's not a forever thing. Remember, this is a 20, 25-year project. So it seems to make sense, and it seems to make sense to help another generation get into farming and not sell our house lots. And I think that's important. I think it was important for you to hear that from a farmer's standpoint.
I appreciate that, and I do know that if you're considering putting that on your property, then you feel that it's going to be successful.
I appreciate that,
Yeah.
and we do, and it's taken a long time to convince our group that everybody's points were considered.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just me,
Oh, okay.
coming back. So I guess for next steps, if the board would like to come out to the property and have a look at it, discuss screening as we talked about. One of the thoughts we had is that prior to our site visit, I know the board typically likes the project components staked out for visual access, but trying to mimic the heights, as Mr. Glines mentioned, we're talking about various heights and setups throughout the property. So we thought we would try to stake it out and mimic at least approximately the heights of each of the components for a more realistic simulation. And I think that will help in all of us, for all of us to look at it and see what the relative height may be for each of these, particularly along the, sight line of Tremont Street that we talked about earlier.
Right. Does the board have a preference on a day for this? Sidewalk? How much time do you think you'll need, Sarah, to do this?
It might be a week or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because it is a vast area, and to get the survey crew out there and set up. And, I mentioned to you, we're going to be submitting a notice of intent with Conservation Commission, so, I think we're a little bit flexible with time.
Okay.
Just, I know we've got holidays coming, and that you have abbreviated meetings and that sort of thing, so, I think we could do a site visit within a couple of weeks if the board can find a time, but, we could potentially continue to the board's maybe first January hearing to come back and pick up the discussion. I think we can accomplish a lot in that time from now till then.
I don't know if anyone has any preference. My concern would be...
13th.
I think it's listed as the 13th.
The 13th, yeah. My only concern would be the weather.
Yeah. So perhaps we could do the site visit sooner and then incorporate what, any additional screening or changes to the plan, and then resume the conversation in the public forum in January.
Okay. Any suggestions? No?
We get the 12th again.
Yeah, we could do that. Does anyone want to spend a good portion of the 12th together? Because that's what it's going to be.
It's 2 weeks Friday.
Or would you like it?
We could, well, the 5th was the other one.
No. Oh, yeah, the 5th.
Yeah.
That's right.
So the
Thank you,
following
Curtis.
week.
Yeah, the following, the 12th. It will take a while. You want to go on the 12th?
I am, yeah. We're saying 9 o'clock again. Sun should probably be up
9?
by then. Yeah.
9? Okay.
The
9
12th is
o'clock.
what day?
Friday.
It's a Friday. All right. I don't believe there was anyone else in the audience that had any questions or comments, no? So we're looking at continuance to the 13th?
The what? Let's
January
continue to
13th.
January 13th. First, before we do that, we're gonna have the entrance ways staked out, the bogs that are gonna have the solar arms staked out, as well as the areas. Are we covering in the battery storage area as well as the interconnection area?
Yes.
Okay. So I will make a motion to continue the public hearing on Tremont Street Solar to January 13th, 2026, 7 PM, Carver Town Hall, Room 1.
A second?
Second.
Very good. Mr. Lake?
Kevin Robinson says aye.
Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Sotelo says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye.
Thank you. And just to confirm, site visit December 12th at 9 a.m.?
Correct, yes.
Okay. I can send an email to Michelle with a meeting place if we need it.
That would be great.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Sarah.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
January 13th.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you, you too. Hi there. Next on the agenda this evening, we have a request for extension for special permit Atwood Solar Project, 223 Meadow Street, assesses map 82, lot 1-1 in a residential agricultural district.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Keith Phillips from Darrow Everett on behalf of the applicant.
Okay.
In this instance, they received the special permit. They did extend it for 1 year already, perhaps overly optimistic about the speed at which Eversource moves. It does appear that the group study did take 3 years from 21 to 24. Currently, Eversource has provided updates that the upgrades are expected to start in Q3 of 2026 and would be completed in early 2028. So in an effort to keep this project moving and not have to come back for additional extensions, we are requesting an extension for 3 years, which would put it to the end of 2028. As soon as the work is being performed by Eversource, we're ready to pull permits. The landlord's getting paid rent. I've already negotiated the pilot agreement with Joe Roche and attorney Matt Thomas. We just need to wait to plug in a number before it can go before a town meeting to get approved, and we can't determine that number until we know what the equipment is and the value. But we're all in on this project. It's just the group study and delays on behalf of Eversource have caused delays on being able to pull permits.
I didn't think anyone was going to make this application tonight. I thought it was being done by Zoom. So surprised to see you.
He is on Zoom. He has been texting me all night. The video's been in and out, but he doesn't get any audio. I told him if there were questions, I might have to phone a friend and dial him in. But he's been very anxious about his inability to be here.
Okay.
So he asked that I come up and be in the room to answer any questions or discuss.
Very good. Thank you. Does anyone on the board have any questions?
When does the current permit expire?
I believe it was due to expire on the 22nd.
Of November?
Yes. The request was made in October.
It was made in
and
I understand that, but just like last year, it was the same thing, and you were warned last year. Don't show up after it's expired, because we approved it on the 26th and it expired on the 22nd, and there's a lot of problems with that.
Yeah, I also read them the riot act on this one. My understanding is that Veterans Day, the holiday ended up being a day where the meeting was pushed. They did request if a special meeting could be had last week to stay within that period. Unfortunately, I think it is a bit unreasonable to ask the board to have a special meeting for that, but I know it was important to them to try to make this meeting happen before that date. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm getting a lot of anxious texts, because they understand it's something that going forward, I've advised them, make your request 2 months in advance, 3 even if you ever need to. Don't do this anymore.
To be fair, it was made in October of 2022, and it should have been handled a long time ago. Like when it first came up, this should have been an issue. But Ms. Questley, your thoughts on the subject?
How can you extend a permit that's expired? I am looking at your, is there anything in the zoning bylaw that requires that a request to extend be submitted 30 days prior to, I mean, usually that's in there. I don't know if,
Off the top of my head, I don't even know that we address it.
I don't even know if you addressed extensions, actually. I mean, it would be, it's up to you guys. if the request to extend came in prior to the expiration, you know, you could use that, but as Mr. Shea indicated, it's already happened once, that it should never happen again.
It was well discussed with the applicants last year. We had about 5 or 6 on the same night, and it was, and most of them were cutting the wire pretty thin, but I seem to remember that maybe one of them had expired, so we can only move forward on your recommendation, I think, on this. This is on how to handle this, because
I, for one, would agree with Attorney Questle that you can't extend something that's already expired.
I would agree with you,
Yeah.
but and again, I see that they put it in a month ago, and I'm not entirely certain wherein the fault lies at this point.
I do believe that this will be the last extension that will ever be requested for this project.
I doubt
know that doesn't move them.
Should we approve it, it will be for a year.
Okay, then in that case,
Because we want to make sure that this is not the way business goes, that this happens repeatedly.
Understood.
And you're looking for your is it a special permit to be extended?
Yes.
And the site plan.
Okay, so with regard to the special permit, it says, unless otherwise noted herein, special permit shall lapse if a substantial use thereof or construction thereunder has not begun except for good cause within 24 months following the filing of special permit approval. So this board, in my opinion, could determine that there has been good cause up until today, therefore the permit has not lapsed, and that you can extend it for, you can do an extension. But then let me just check on site plan also, because that's under, well, actually, I know for a fact that your bylaws say that if it's special permit and site plan, everything gets wrapped into special permit. So, so I'm assuming it would be the same for the site plan. So that is one way. That is one way that we could cure the fact that they applied in October and there was no meeting because of Veterans Day. Which would be that the good cause would be that they are waiting on, I can't remember, was it Eversource or National Grid? I can't remember which one, but they're waiting on the utility. How's that? And therefore it hasn't lapsed. But that would be up to you guys.
I'm looking towards Madam Chairman at this point.
I don't feel comfortable with the logic of that. If we're logic to say we can extend it retroactively, acknowledge the fact that it expired and it was told, then there's some provision for that. I'd be much more comfortable with that kind of a reasoning. You know?
Right, the reasoning here is that it hasn't lapsed.
Yeah.
Because there's good cause that they couldn't start construction.
Right.
But that also begs the question, why are they asking for an extension then?
Well, have you started any construction, or are you just talking about the interconnection?
So the construction, like pulling the permits, you don't typically do that until you're ready to mobilize and actually do the work, because then you run into issues with pulling permits and then not actually doing the work. And so
But you can do the work without the interconnection, right?
you can't finance it. So no, you can't get a bank loan to actually finance the project, so you'd have to put in 100% of all of the cost of panels, racking, civil, and that's not something that the industry
So that then
does.
just becomes a financing issue, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, it's not a physical impossibility to pull the permits and actually do that. It's just economically, it is impossible for this project.
Okay. It's a little bit of a gray area here.
I can give you certainty that next year, an extension request will come in June. And I'm happy to put that on the record, because I personally will draft it and submit it if they don't submit it in June of next year. Because I agree, it is, being somebody who has served on a planning board in Warren, Rhode Island, I understand that you guys are here doing a lot of very important work, spending your evenings, and you guys have to have this discussion this evening. It's not fair to you guys, and I'm going to make sure that going forward, the request comes in several months in advance so that this isn't even a question.
I still feel that an attempt could have been made to initiate some sort of construction. So to say that the lapse was just solely due to the interconnection,
If I remember correctly, wasn't it around 13 or 18 acres of clear cutting forest? Isn't that what that particular site was?
I don't know. If I can call him, Hamilton will have the answer.
That's all right. That's not necessary.
But yeah, clear cutting wouldn't be an issue. If it were like pouring pads or starting to put in racking, that would be a tax credit issue. When you commence construction, it must be completed and interconnected within 4 years, or you lose any of the federal incentives. And a large part of how these projects can get financed and built is in reliance that, you'll get funds from somebody that's buying those credits to actually fund construction of these projects. So, there are certain things that could be done construction-wise, like clear cutting maybe, but
so nothing's been done.
I don't know what's been done. I know that they haven't poured concrete pads. That I know for sure, because it'd be an entirely different discussion on viability if they had done something to commence construction from the IRS's standpoint.
Any questions on behalf of the board?
Can we set conditions on an extension?
Sure. It's a decision. It's a discretionary decision on your part, so sure.
I would say that they put it in considerable enough time. We have excused others up until NSTAR and Eversource have finalized their interconnection plan, which is already finalized, so everybody's had their last shot at the pie. And I would say I would make a motion to continue it till November 22nd, 2026. But the condition I would request is, if this is the clear cutting of over 5 acres of land, that a forest cutting plan be filed with the appropriate state agencies as such.
You said continue, you mean extend, right?
Pardon?
You said continue, you mean extend.
I meant extend, yes.
I know what you meant.
There's a lot going up in here, Mr. Bader.
I can smell the wood smoke all the way over here.
Yeah, I could smell it too, but I made the motion.
So that was the motion. Okay, very good. Do I get a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Lake?
Kevin Robinson says aye.
Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Sedillo says aye.
Mary Lynn Williams says aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Glines, thank you very much for, we couldn't do this without you.
Thank you.
Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas, because I won't see you.
Merry Christmas too. While I got you here, could I have you resend that information over on how you define the floating bog so we can actually do something?
Yeah, same language, we're
regards to-
including it in the memo for
Alright.
the comments that will be coming out for the project that was heard tonight.
Give your mom my best.
Thank
Will do.
you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. All right, next on the agenda, we just have notes, and I don't have any notes other than to wish everyone a happy
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
And we don't have any town planner notes. Any further discussion before we go on to the minutes? All right.
Work on your patience for this coming week, though. I hope everybody works on their patience, has been saving it up all week for this weekend.
Got that right.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of 8/26/2025.
I'll second that.
I just have one amendment to this, one change.
We have a sign, something.
We have to go through the minutes first. Yeah. On the minutes, I have to point out that the bottom of page 1, Chairwoman Williams asked Mr. Memo if he were to build a single-family house, would he stay in that location? And I said, would it stay in that location? So I will request that that be amended.
I will amend it as edited.
Thank you. We have the second on that?
Second.
All right. Mr. Lake?
Aye. Kevin Robinson says aye.
Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Sturl says aye.
Marilyn Williams says aye.
And I will make a motion to approve the minutes of September 9th, 2025, 9/9/2025.
Second.
I just have two, I'm sorry.
No,
I just have two-
we are opening it up for
Yeah.
discussion, right?
I have two small revisions. There's a typo on the first page, and then there's a missing word on the second page. When it refers to Mr. Borden, his name was misspelled. I'll take care of that. And then the word asked was missed under the deadline of 9/10/2025. That goes in there. Other than that, there were a few things missing, but they may have been fairly insignificant. So I would just have, I'll ask those changes be made.
I would change my motion to as edited.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, okay, very good. Mr. Lake?
Multiple second.
Kevin Robinson says aye.
Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Sturl says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye. And,
Next meeting's December 9th, 2025, I believe.
yes, it is.
And I will make a motion to adjourn.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Lake?
Aye. Kevin Robinson says aye.
Mr. Shea says aye.
Ellen Sturl says aye.
Mary Ellen Williams says aye. Thank you very much and have a good evening.